There is a profound misunderstanding in the modern world about how wealth is actually created. If you observe society today, you might conclude that getting rich is a loud, chaotic, and frantic process. We see the overnight success stories, the flashy cars, the aggressive day traders shouting at screens, and the constant, deafening noise of the next big opportunity. But true wealth, the kind that lasts across generations, is rarely born in the noise. It is forged in the quiet. There are invisible habits, operating silently in the background of a person's daily life, that quietly build fortunes. These are the habits that Napoleon Hill, after spending decades studying the most successful individuals of his time, identified as the true dividing line between the wealthy and the rest of the world. These habits do not require you to be a genius. They do not require a massive inheritance. They do not even require a lucky break. They simply require an understanding of how the human mind interacts with the concept of value. Because before wealth can ever materialize in your bank account, it must first be constructed invisibly within your own mind. Let us look at a story to understand how this works in practice. Imagine two young men, Arthur and Thomas. Both are 25 years old, both are reasonably intelligent, and both have a strong desire to be financially independent. They both work at the same company, earning the exact same salary. From the outside, their lives look identical. But the invisible architecture of their minds could not be more different. Arthur believes that wealth is a physical pursuit. He is constantly in motion. He works long hours, takes on side hustles, and spends his evenings scouring the internet for the next hot stock or the next viral business trend. His mind is a chaotic storm of temporary tactics. He is exhausted, stressed, and always feels like he is one step behind the market. When he fails, which happens often because he is always rushing, he blames the economy, his boss, or his lack of initial capital. Thomas, on the other hand, operates completely differently. While Arthur is frantically chasing the wind, Thomas spends his quiet hours building invisible habits. Thomas has read Napoleon Hill, and he understands that physical action without mental clarity is just wasted energy. The first invisible habit Thomas develops is what Hill called a definiteness of purpose. Thomas does not just want to be rich. That is a wish, and a wish has no power. Thomas knows exactly how much money he intends to accumulate by his 40th birthday, and more importantly, he knows exactly what service he is going to provide in exchange for that money. He has a written plan. Every morning, before the noise of the world can infect his mind, he sits in silence and visualizes this purpose. He feels it. He directs his subconscious mind to seek out opportunities that align with this specific goal. If you find yourself nodding along to this quiet truth, take a brief moment to like this video. It is a small gesture, but it signals to your own mind and to ours that you value patience and clarity over panic and noise. Because Thomas has this invisible habit of clarity, his brain acts like a filter. While Arthur is distracted by 100 different mediocre opportunities, Thomas effortlessly ignores them. He is only looking for the precise pieces of the puzzle that fit his definite purpose. This saves him years of wasted time and lost capital. The second invisible habit Thomas cultivates is the formulation of a mastermind. Napoleon Hill observed that no individual has enough experience, education, or native ability to ensure the accumulation of a great fortune without the cooperation of other people. Arthur views everyone as competition. He guards his ideas jealously and tries to do everything himself. Thomas understands that two minds working in perfect harmony create a third, invisible, intangible force, which is the mastermind. Thomas deliberately surrounds himself with people who are smarter than he is in specific areas. He builds relationships based on mutual growth, not just immediate transaction. He listens more than he speaks. When a complex problem arises, Arthur tries to hammer his way through it alone and often gives up. Thomas brings the problem to his network, and together they dissolve the obstacle in a matter of minutes. The wealth generated by this habit is entirely invisible until it suddenly manifests as a massive leap forward in Thomas's career. If you want to understand how a mastermind works, Look at how you consume information. You are here, absorbing decades of studied wisdom, merging our insights with your own potential. Hill called this the mastermind principle. If you wish to make this channel a small, continuous part of your own mastermind group, a place where you return to align your thoughts with timeless financial wisdom, consider subscribing. It is a quiet decision today that compounds your knowledge for tomorrow. But the most powerful invisible habit, the one that truly separates the Arthurs of the world from the Thomases, is how they process adversity. Napoleon Hill wrote that every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. This is perhaps the hardest habit to master because it requires you to fight your own human nature. When Arthur loses a significant amount of money on a bad investment, he is devastated. He feels the pain of the loss, internalizes it, and becomes bitter. He tells himself that the game is rigged. His failure becomes a wall that stops his progress. When Thomas faces a devastating setback, a failed business launch, or a sudden financial loss, he feels the same initial sting of disappointment. But his invisible habit immediately takes over. He refuses to view the event as a failure. He categorizes it as temporary defeat. He calmly dissects the situation, looking strictly for the lesson. He searches for the seed of the benefit. Because he is looking for the lesson instead of looking for someone to blame, he finds it. He realizes a flaw in his risk management. He adjusts his strategy. The temporary defeat actually makes his foundation stronger. 10 years later, Arthur is still complaining about the money he lost, while Thomas has used the lesson from that exact same loss to build a 7-figure enterprise. The difference was not in the event itself. The difference was entirely in the invisible habit of perception. Hill taught that poverty and wealth are both the offspring of thought. The mind is a factory. If you feed it a diet of fear, doubt, and chaotic short-term thinking, it will manufacture poverty, no matter how hard you work physically. But if you feed it a diet of definite purpose, specialized knowledge, faith, and the transmuting of failure into wisdom, it will inevitably manufacture wealth. These habits are invisible because they happen in the silent moments. They happen in the way you talk to yourself when you wake up. They happen in the way you react when a deal falls through. They happen in your willingness to delay immediate gratification for a massive long-term vision. You cannot buy these habits. You cannot inherit them. You must construct them day by day, thought by thought. Hill insisted that a goal must be written down to move from the invisible world into the physical world. It must be declared. So I invite you to use the comment section below not just as a forum, but as your own personal ledger. Write down your definite major purpose right now. What is the specific goal you are quietly building toward? Put it into words. Let the world and your own subconscious mind see it clearly. The people who eventually become millionaires do not stumble into it by accident. They do not get there by being the loudest person in the room. They get there by quietly building an internal architecture that makes wealth inevitable. They understand that money is merely the physical shadow of an invisible reality. When you fix the invisible habits, the visible wealth simply follows as a matter of mathematical certainty. It is not magic. It is not luck. It is the quiet, relentless compounding of a prepared mind. The only question you must ask yourself today is this: what invisible habits are you allowing to compound in the background of your life right now? Are they quietly building your fortune, or are they silently tearing it down? The choice, as it always has been, is entirely yours to make.